All right. Welcome back to another episode of Saber Team's Corner. This one here we're going to call Pit Viper. It's a two-part story. All right, this one here is also based in Korea. Same time period, 96, 97. Same scout platoon. Um, so this one here, it's a two-part story. Let me give you part one, and I'm going to give you part two. Part one was we were doing a patrol. Basically, they was testing me on my patrol skills. They always tested me. I had taught a class on patrolling, so they wanted to see it in action, see if I knew my stuff. So we was doing a patrol in the woods to find this objective, and it was BS. And so we had stopped for lunch. We ate. We got up, and the NCOs that was evaluating us. One of them knew his stuff. The other one, he was senior scout. He had no clue to what we was doing, and I knew it. And these guys, most of these guys were real pain in the butts. So we patrolled through this area. It looked like a cornfield. It wasn't a cornfield. I don't know what it was in Korea, but we bust through the brush. We was seven of us, and as we came through the brush, I was like, you know what? Maybe we need to get a comms check and figure out what's going on, and let them know we're still alive, right? So I put one of the NCOs down on the ground, and he was sitting on the ground with his hands on his knees with the radio in front of him. And all of a sudden, one of the other sergeants came up, our senior scout came up and put his hands directly on my shoulder and yelled out, "Don't move." And I said, and he said, "Look down." He said, "Nobody moves." And as we all looked down, it was as pretty as pit viper green snake that I ever seen in my entire life. Crawled directly over this guy's left hand, directly over his knees, directly over his right hand, and directly over his knees. And now pit vipers in that country are very dangerous. So if we would have bit him, it probably would have killed him. And so I had my gunner was sitting next. He was standing next to me. He had his hand on my shoulder, and he was like, "Sarge, I'm about to run. I'm about to run. I'm about to run." You can feel him shaking. He's about to run. I said, "Don't you dare move. If you do, you're gonna get this guy killed, and I'm gonna knock you out." So we just let I said, "Just contain yourself. Don't move." And he didn't move. He contained himself. And then the snake went on by itself. I think we scared the snake coming through the brush. So the snake was more scared of what was going on than trying to bite one of us. So as the snake left, then we tried to get radio communication. The guy on the ground, he was petrified. He finally like, whew, and he finally he got the radio up. We tried to get comms. We couldn't even reach anybody. So if he had got bit, we would have had to carry that guy to the top of the hill or something like that in order to get a radio, to get a chopper to come down there. And by that time, he had probably been expired. Especially biting him in his leg, his arteries to right there. It would have went straight to his heart. Um, so that story ended. That patrol went on. Then it was a couple days later, but the story went back to the platoon that what had happened. So everybody's like, "Oh my God, we got snakes out here." Yeah, they tell you that they got snakes out here and all kinds of other critters. And so everybody was all eyeballing looking for snakes. Um, so I was doing another patrol with a 3-man patrol. I had this corporal with me. We call him Corporal Hemorrhoid. Well, the reason why we called him Corporal Hemorrhoid because the guy had to wear Tampax in between his butt cheeks and he couldn't sit in the command seat because he had a hemorrhoid, and this idiot allowed the medics to cut on him out in the middle of the field. So now he's bleeding, right? Well, he couldn't sit down in the commander's seat in the Humvee because his butt hurt. So he was standing up in the gun seat. Well, the driver of his Humvee, they didn't like him, so they was hitting every pothole there was because the gunner is actually sitting on a strap, and if you sit on that strap, it's going to press up against his tampon. So they was still trying to hurt him. So Corporal Hemorrhoid and another specialist I had with me, but we was on a little 3-man patrol. It was like 7 o'clock at night, getting dark. We're going to be out there till like maybe 1, 2 in the morning, maybe all night even. And we was going to monitor a valley and do some OP spots and do some surveillance, right? So I had I was running point. I always like running point because I can read the map better than anybody at that time. And so the RTO, the guy carrying the radios behind me. And I had put my other specialist behind him. Well, he decides to play a joke. As the guy passes a tree branch, he pulls a tree branch back and let it whip and hit the guy in the leg. Then convinced to telling the guy, "You've been bit by a snake." I didn't realize that Corporal Hemorrhoid was afraid of snakes. So the first thing he does is take off running and screaming in the woods like a crazy man. So I look at the dude, I'm like, "What the hell do you do?" He said, "I just hit him in the stick with hit him in the leg with a stick and told him he'd been bit by a snake." So I take off running after him. It takes me a good bit to catch this guy. And when we catch him, I grab him. He's still fighting me and carrying. We had to tackle this dude and fight him. He just acting like a wild man. I'm like, "Dude, calm the damn down. Calm down." And I said, "Tell him what you told me. Tell him, damn it." I said, "Man, I was joking. You wasn't bit by a snake." He was like, "Oh, I'm going to die. I'm going to die." I'm going to die. I was like, "Man, shut up." I pulled his pants leg up, and I pulled his pants up, and I showed him. I said, "Look at your damn leg. You haven't been bit." And then he finally calmed down. And I was like, "Dude, the only reason I chased you is because you had the radio that I signed for." If he didn't have that radio, I was going to let that fool run through the damn woods. But I needed that radio because that was my lifeline. And so I was like, that fool, if he had taken off like that and he didn't have that radio, I would have just sat down and just let him run until he found his way back toward us. What a moron. That was a funny story. I was so pissed at the other guy for doing it because it was getting dark. And if it had got dark, and if you guys ever been in Korea at night, man, you can't see nothing in the woods. I mean, it's pitch black. I hate patrolling at night in Korea. You can't see anything. It's like you can't even see your hand in front of your face. And trying to put night vision on is just virtually impossible. It's like looking through nothing. You can't see anything. So that was a pretty funny story. And luckily nobody got hurt except his feelings, And boy, when I got back, I told that story, and they really tore into him. I was like, man, he didn't live that down. He ended up transferring out the platoon. That was so funny. All right, here's another tale of Saber Team's Corner. Hope you guys enjoyed this story. And it was pretty funny. And I'll see you guys on the range.